All right, let's just get right into it. If you're a parent and you get that call or you see it on your kid's face that they're being bullied, your first feeling is just this mix of heartbreak and, let's be honest, pure protective rage. And that feeling, that instinct, it almost always boils down to this one thought. It makes perfect sense, right? You want to give your child the tools to make the hurt stop, to be able to stand up for themselves. But this is where the big worry comes in for a lot of parents. You think, wait, if I teach my kid to fight, am I just creating another fighter? Am I teaching them to be aggressive? And that's the fear. But the reality, what a place like the Equal Chance Boxing Foundation will tell you, is actually the complete opposite. It's not about aggression. It's about building real, deep confidence. So here's the core idea, the big takeaway. The most effective way to bully-proof a child isn't about teaching them how to throw a better punch. It's about building their self-worth up so high that they just don't look, act, or even feel like a target anymore. Okay, so how in the world does that actually happen? How does a sport like boxing create this kind of mind and body armor? Let's break down how it can totally rewire a kid's entire presence. A lot of the time, it all starts before anyone even says a word. Bullies are often looking for the easy target, right? They're looking for signs of vulnerability, the slumped shoulders, the eyes looking down at the ground. Well, boxing changes all of that. It physically changes how a child carries themselves. And we're talking about really specific physical changes. When you practice a balanced, grounded stance over and over, it just becomes how you stand. When you learn to look your coach and your partners in the eye, that becomes natural. And when you build a strong core, you just stand taller. You don't even have to think about it. You start projecting this quiet energy that says, I'm not the one. But it goes so much deeper than just how you stand. There's this massive psychological shift that happens. You could call it the knowing factor. And it's simple, really. When you truly know what you're capable of, you don't feel that you have to prove it to anybody. This creates what we can call an internal anchor. See, because a child is challenging themselves every single day in a safe, controlled place, the taunts and teases from a bully on the playground just lose their sting. A kid's self-worth is no longer tied up in what other people say. It's anchored in what they know they can actually do. And think about what a bully is really after. They want a reaction, right? The tears, the shouting, the fear. Well, what is boxing training if not a masterclass in controlling your emotions under pressure? It teaches you to stay calm and think straight when your heart is absolutely pounding. There's a cool term for this, stress inoculation. It basically means by facing controlled stress in the gym, a kid's body and brain learn how to handle it. So when a real-world confrontation happens, they don't just freak out. They've been there before. They can breathe, they can think, and they can de-escalate. Okay, but let's get back to that big parental worry. What's to stop a kid from taking these skills and becoming the bully themselves? This is where the ethical framework is so important. In fact, it's everything. Any good program drills this code into its members. Number 1, boxing is a sport, not a weapon you use to start fights. Number 2, with this new power comes a responsibility to protect people, never to intimidate them. And number 3, and this is huge, the gym is the sanctuary. That's where you practice. The skills stay there. It builds discipline, not bullies. Now, this whole transformation isn't just about one kid's journey. There's another massive piece to this puzzle, and it has to do with the power of community. Think about it. A bully's greatest weapon is making a kid feel alone. But a good gym, it completely shatters that isolation. A child isn't just that quiet kid anymore. Nope, they're a boxer. They're part of a team, a tribe. They have people in their corner, literally. And that support network is like an incredible psychological shield. And listen, this isn't just theory. The proof is in the results. Look at the Equal Chance Boxing Foundation. They've trained over 500 young people using this exact approach. And within that group, they have tracked more than 150 documented cases where a kid's life was profoundly changed for the better. But to me, this might be the most powerful number of all. A 95% program completion rate. That's huge. That means the kids themselves are getting something so valuable out of this that they stick with it. They feel it working. And this quote from the foundation just nails it, doesn't it? We aren't learning how to hurt people. We are learning how to value ourselves. Because at the end of the day, a child who truly understands their own worth is an incredibly difficult person to bully. So I'll just leave you with this to chew on. What if we've been thinking about self-defense all wrong? What if the best defense isn't a punch at all, but a presence? A quiet confidence so strong that it stops the fight before it ever has a chance to start.